Before diving into this incredible story, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, every story has something to say, and you won't want to miss a single one. St. Michael's Church was bathed in the golden light of a spring morning. The stained glass windows cast flashes of red, blue, and gold onto the floor, as if to paint the solemnity of the moment. Mass had barely begun when the sacred silence was broken by a sharp, almost human, bark. A black dog with deep brown, intelligent eyes burst into the nave. It trotted between the pews with unsettling confidence, knocking over a candle, brushing against the parishioners' robes, and each bark seemed to echo against the ancient stones like a warning. The faithful, frozen in astonishment, murmured among themselves, while the priest, Father Jonathan Miller, clutched his crucifix in his trembling hand. The dog didn't seem frightened or malicious. He had a mission, and this was evident in the rigidity of his body, in the fixity of his gaze. Despite Father Miller's pleas and the parishioners' clumsy attempts to move him away, the animal refused to leave the church. Each time someone approached him, he took a step back, then stopped, as if challenging anyone to understand his presence. Jonathan felt a strange mixture of fear and curiosity take hold of him. He had seen many things in his life, but never anything like this scene. The dog seemed to be waiting for him. And a cold shiver ran down his spine when he realized that this animal wasn't just an intruder, it was a guide. Without further hesitation, Father Miller made a life-changing decision: he would follow that dog. Perhaps the revelation of his mission, or the truth he had been hiding, lay somewhere beyond the church doors. And as the parishioners held their breath, he crossed the threshold, leaving behind the astonished whispers and the luminous stained glass windows. What he was about to discover was unlike anything he had ever known. This dog was not just a stray animal, it carried the weight of an ancient secret, a secret that Father Miller was about to reveal, at the cost of his own tears and his heart. Father Jonathan Miller stepped out of the church, his heart pounding. The black dog trotted ahead with almost supernatural confidence, its eyes fixed on the horizon as if it knew exactly where it was going. Jonathan hesitated for a moment, looking down at the silent streets of the sleepy little town. The dog wasn't afraid of the cars or the passers-by who stopped to watch this strange scene, it seemed to be guiding Jonathan to a place only it knew. The cobblestones echoed beneath their feet. Jonathan had always been a man of faith, but he had never imagined that his faith would lead him to follow an animal through the deserted streets of a city just waking up. Each street corner revealed a new bark, more intense, more insistent. The dog would sometimes stop, sniff the ground, and then move on as if searching for something only it could perceive. Turning down a narrow alley, Jonathan glimpsed a small, ruined building, covered in ivy and almost invisible from the main street. The dog froze in front of the rickety door, its eyes fixed on the priest with disconcerting intensity. A shiver ran through Jonathan. He took a deep breath and crossed the threshold. Inside, the light filtering through the holes in the roof revealed walls covered in ancient symbols and paintings faded by time. The dog approached a painting depicting a religious scene, its claws brushing against a particular detail, a veiled face, half erased, but whose eyes seemed to follow Jonathan. The priest knelt, breathless. "Who are you, and what do you want to show me?" he murmured. But the dog didn't answer. He simply stared at the painting, as if the secret lay there, hidden beneath layers of dust and mystery. Jonathan then understood that this quest was not just about a stray animal. He was on the verge of discovering a truth that would change his perception of the world, of faith, and of himself. And he knew, deep down, that this first step would lead him to revelations that no priest had ever dared to confront. The dog, silent and majestic, was waiting for him. And Jonathan, despite his fear and incomprehension, stood up, ready to follow this enigmatic guide into the depths of the unknown. The black dog emerged from the ruined building with a calm determination, and Jonathan followed it along a narrow path lined with trees whose branches seemed to form a natural tunnel. The air was damp and heavy with the scent of earth and rotting leaves. Each footstep echoed in the almost reverent silence of the forest, and Jonathan felt as if he were being drawn into a parallel world, far removed from all human logic. Suddenly, the dog stopped in front of a small, dark pond, half hidden by reeds. His eyes shone in the gloom, and he growled softly, as if to signal that he had found what he was looking for. Jonathan approached and noticed a stone half submerged in the water, on which were carved symbols he had never seen before. He leaned closer to examine them more closely. The engravings resembled a combination of ancient letters and animal shapes, almost like a language forgotten for centuries. Jonathan's heart pounded in his chest. He realized the dog wasn't leading him by chance. These symbols were a message, a clue, something someone, or something, wanted him to discover. The dog placed its paw on the stone, as if to attract his attention. Jonathan then felt a strange energy coursing through his fingers as he touched the engravings. A fleeting vision appeared before him, a masked man, a secret library, and an ancient chest filled with parchments. He stepped back, stunned by the sight. Was it a warning? A revelation? He had no idea. The dog, silent and vigilant, waited for him. Jonathan understood that each step forward brought him closer to the truth, but also to danger. This was not merely a spiritual quest, it was an adventure that would test his courage, his faith, and his ability to distinguish the real from the invisible. He straightened up, took a deep breath, and murmured, "Very well, let's show me where this leads." The dog barked softly, as if in agreement, and resumed its walk through the forest, more confident than ever. Jonathan followed, sensing that the true secret of this strange apparition would soon be revealed. After a long walk along winding, almost forgotten forest paths, Jonathan finally glimpsed a building hidden behind a curtain of thick ivy and twisting roots. Its walls, made of dark, mossy stone, looked centuries old. The black dog stopped before a heavy, carved wooden door, marked with symbols identical to those engraved on the pond stone. Jonathan felt his heart pounding. He placed his hand on the handle, and to his surprise, the door opened effortlessly, as if it had been waiting for him. The dog went in first, and Jonathan followed with slight apprehension. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of old paper and ancient wood. Immense bookshelves, filled with books with cracked bindings and dusty parchments, stretched to the ceiling. Spiral staircases led to upper galleries where rare manuscripts and mysterious objects lay. Light from a skylight cast golden rays upon volumes forgotten for centuries. The dog went to a corner of the library, where a solid wood chest, adorned with antique ironwork, stood. Its eyes shone with intelligence, as if saying to Jonathan, "Everything is here, but you have to know how to look." Jonathan knelt before the chest and noticed an intricate lock. The symbols of the pond and the door seemed to form a combination to open it. He concentrated, following an inexplicable instinct, and turned the engravings in the exact order he had memorized. With a dull click, the chest opened, revealing ancient parchments, yellowed letters, and a book bound in black leather. He took the book carefully. On the cover, engraved in gold letters, "The Secrets of the Guides," his hands trembled as he opened it. Each page seemed to tell the story of creatures guiding lost souls, of guardian dogs, and of hidden messages for those worthy of discovering them. Jonathan then understood that the black dog was not just an animal, it was a messenger, a guardian of ancient and forgotten knowledge. As he read, a rustling sound behind him caught his attention. The dog growled softly and positioned itself between Jonathan and the moving shadow. Someone, or something, had just entered. Jonathan felt a mixture of fear and excitement. He had just grasped the first real key to the mystery, but the real ordeal was only just beginning. Jonathan felt an icy shiver run down his spine. The moving shadow in the library was slowly approaching. The black dog, vigilant and protective, positioned itself in front of him, its fur bristling, emitting a low growl that echoed through the vast, silent room. A hoarse voice rose from the darkness, "I knew someone would eventually find this place." A man then appeared, dressed in a long black cloak that seemed to absorb the light. His face was partially hidden by an ancient mask, reminiscent of those used in forgotten rituals of centuries past. He stepped forward confidently, his eyes fixed on Jonathan as if weighing his soul. "Who are you?" asked Jonathan, his voice trembling but firm. "And what do you want with this dog in this library?" The man gave a cold smile. "This dog, he's not just an animal. He's the guardian of ancient knowledge. And you, Father Jonathan, are now involved. What you've just discovered was never meant to be revealed, not to you, not to anyone. Jonathan felt the weight of the threat. He knew the man wasn't speaking in vain. The dog growled louder, ready to attack, but Jonathan gently placed his hand on its side. Calm down, we need to understand what's going on. The intruder sneered, and with a swift movement, tried to close the chest and seize the scrolls. The dog leaped forward with astonishing speed, nipping at the man's forearm and driving him back. The struggle was brief but intense, and Jonathan took advantage of the moment to grab the ancient book and retreat to an alcove in the library. The man, surprised by the dog's determination, also stepped back and murmured, "Very well, this is only the beginning. You will soon understand that some secrets come at a high price." Then, like a ghost, he disappeared into the shadows of the library, leaving Jonathan panting and the dog vigilant. Jonathan placed the book against his chest and looked at the dog. "We need to go further, understand all of this before he returns." The dog barked softly, as if in agreement. Together, they knew they had just embarked on a dangerous game. The quest for the truth and the protection of this ancient secret were not just an adventure, but a race against an invisible and determined enemy. After the episode with the masked man, Jonathan understood that every moment spent on this quest was a test of courage and discernment. The black dog remained close to him, like a silent and vigilant shield, and its eyes shone with an almost human intelligence. They left the library through a hidden exit that Jonathan had only noticed by carefully examining the engravings on the ground. The path wound through the forest, and each step seemed to bring them closer to a place steeped in history and mystery. After several minutes of walking, the dog stopped before a sunlit clearing. In the center stood an ancient stone altar, covered in moss and vines. Symbols similar to those in the library were carved into its surface, but this time they formed a complete image, a black dog with shining eyes, surrounded by flames and ancient letters. Jonathan felt a strange resonance. He knelt before the altar and placed his hand on the stone. Immediately, a vision flashed through his mind. Centuries before, an order of guardian monks had chosen animals, particularly dogs, to protect sacred knowledge and the world's lost secrets. These dogs possessed exceptional sensitivity and intelligence, capable of guiding worthy souls toward the truth. The black dog lay down at Jonathan's feet, as if to say, "You are now one of those who must understand and protect this knowledge." Jonathan felt a deep bond forming between them. It was not just an animal, it was a messenger, a protector, a guide in a world where faith and mystery intertwine. As he reflected on this revelation, Jonathan noticed a small inscription engraved on the altar, almost erased by time: "He who follows the guardian will see what others do not." But the truth has a price. Jonathan's heart sank. He understood that the path he had chosen was not without danger. The enemies who coveted these secrets would stop at nothing, and the dog was both his guide and his protector. Together, they would have to unravel the mysteries, confront those who wanted to destroy ancient knowledge, and understand the true mission entrusted to them. With determination, Jonathan stood up and stroked the dog's head. "So, we must continue, and discover the truth, no matter the cost." The dog barked softly, and together they ventured deeper into the forest, toward the unknown that awaited them. Jonathan and the dog walked on through the dense forest, the silence broken only by the crunch of branches beneath their feet. Sunlight filtered through the leaves, creating shifting patterns on the ground. After several hours, they emerged into a clearing that revealed the ruins of an ancient village, almost entirely overgrown. Crumbling stone houses, collapsed roofs, and overgrown paths bore witness to a bygone life, long forgotten. Jonathan felt a mixture of fascination and unease. This place seemed frozen in time, as if the outside world had never existed for him. The black dog advanced cautiously, sniffing the ground and barking softly to signal safe passages to Jonathan. They reached a building larger than the others, a kind of central hall, whose main door, despite the years, seemed strangely intact. The symbols carved on the facade were identical to those of the library and the altar in the clearing. Jonathan pushed open the door, and inside he found a vast, empty room with a floor covered in ancient mosaics. In the center, an intricate circle, seemingly a map of the village, was surrounded by mysterious letters and symbols. The dog sat in the center of the circle and stared at Jonathan, as if to tell him that the next stage of their quest lay here. While exploring the ruins, Jonathan discovered a hidden staircase leading to an underground crypt. The air was cold and damp, and each footstep echoed ominously against the stone walls. In the dim light, he glimpsed shelves containing ancient scrolls and ritual objects. The texts told the story of a village chosen by an ancient order, whose inhabitants had been tasked with protecting secrets connected to powerful, unseen forces. The dog growled, and Jonathan understood that danger was approaching. This village, though deserted, was not abandoned by chance. Someone, or something, was always watching over this place. The secrets it held were coveted, and the dog's presence was not only a guide, but protection against unseen but imminent enemies. Jonathan took a deep breath, stroked the dog and murmured, "Very well, let's continue. The truth is here, somewhere." The dog barked softly, and together they ventured deeper into the crypt, ready to discover the next piece of the ancient puzzle that linked the dog, the library, and the forgotten village. In the damp darkness of the crypt, Jonathan lit a small oil lamp he had brought with him. The flickering light revealed shelves covered with parchments and ancient books, some so fragile that a breath could reduce them to dust. The black dog remained at his side, its eyes shining in the gloom like two shards of amber. Jonathan carefully perused the texts until he discovered a manuscript bound in black leather, older and more mysterious than all the others. On its cover, an engraving showed a black dog similar to his own, surrounded by a circle of runes and mystical symbols. The title, written in a forgotten language, translated approximately as "The Prophecy of the Guides." Carefully, Jonathan opened the manuscript. The pages told the story of a dog chosen by ancient monks to protect knowledge and guide those who were worthy. But the most striking prophecy was the one that mentioned a guardian of the light, a man of faith who would follow the dog and face trials of courage, faith, and truth. The text explained, "When the shadow seeks to destroy what must be protected, the guardian of light will be guided by the black dog. His eyes will see what men ignore, and his heart will have to choose between the visible world and the world of secrets. The price of truth will be heavy, but destiny will be fulfilled." Jonathan felt a wave of dizziness wash over him. Each word resonated like a confirmation: the dog wasn't just an animal, it was the guide to his destiny. And the threat of the masked man he had encountered earlier was only the beginning of a much larger conflict. As he closed the manuscript, a metallic clang echoed through the crypt. The dog instantly sprang to its feet, ears pricked and body tense. Jonathan followed its gaze and saw a figure slip into the crypt's entrance. Once again, they were not alone, and the danger was closer than ever. The dog barked once, then turned to Jonathan, as if to say, "Prepare yourself. Everything we've discovered so far was just a prelude." Jonathan clutched the manuscript to his chest. He knew now that his mission, guided by the dog, would take him beyond anything he had ever known, a path strewn with ancient secrets, unseen threats, and earth-shattering revelations. The metallic clang echoed again in the crypt, closer this time. Jonathan felt his heart race. The black dog positioned itself in front of him, its fur bristling, ready to defend its master and the secret he protected. In the shadows, a figure became clearly defined. It was the masked man they had already confronted in the library. "You persist in poking around where you shouldn't," he said in an icy voice, his eyes gleaming behind his mask. "The knowledge you seek to uncover is not for men of faith." Jonathan took a deep breath, clutching the manuscript to his chest. "This isn't just for me. It's to protect what needs protecting. And I won't let you destroy this secret." The man advanced, but the dog leaped forward with surprising speed, driving him back. The crypt echoed with the clash of claws and metal, and Jonathan understood that they were engaged in a battle that was not only physical, but spiritual. Every move the dog made seemed to anticipate the intruders, every bark a signal for Jonathan to dodge or retaliate. Suddenly, the man made a swift movement and a scroll flew from his hands, crashing to the ground. Jonathan immediately seized it and retreated toward the center of the crypt, followed by the dog. The scroll, barely unfurled, revealed an ancient map of the village and its surroundings, indicating secret places where ancient knowledge was preserved. The masked man stepped back slightly, surprised by Jonathan's determination and the dog's agility. "Very well, you win this time. But this is only the beginning. The truth you seek could destroy you." And before Jonathan could react, the man disappeared down a hidden passage, leaving behind a heavy silence and a feeling of pervasive threat. Jonathan, panting but determined, looked at the dog. "We have to keep going. There's still so much to discover, and he won't back down." The dog barked softly, approvingly, as if to confirm that the mission wasn't over. Together, they knew they had to be more careful, smarter, and braver to face the challenges that still lay ahead. Jonathan and the black dog left the crypt, their hearts still pounding from the confrontation with the masked man. The parchment they had retrieved indicated a secret location, hidden for centuries, where a powerful artifact was kept. According to the writings, this object held the key to the dog's mission and revealed the true extent of ancient knowledge. After several hours of walking through dense forests and along forgotten paths, they arrived at an almost invisible cave, hidden behind an icy waterfall. The water falling in transparent curtains created a mystical atmosphere, and the sound resonated like an ancient chant. The dog stopped before the entrance, its eyes shining with an intense light, and gently scratched the ground, inviting Jonathan to enter. Inside, the cave was illuminated by luminescent crystals that cast blue and gold glimmers on the walls. In the center, on a stone pedestal, rested an artifact, an ancient medallion, adorned with symbols identical to those found on the pond stone and in the library. Its reflections seemed to change depending on the angle, revealing images of dogs and human beings bound by a mystical light. Jonathan approached reverently. When he touched the medallion, a gentle, reassuring warmth filled his hand. A vision came to him, the black dog guiding generations of men of faith, protecting knowledge and guiding those who were worthy. He understood that this artifact was not merely a symbol, but a link between the visible and invisible worlds, a channel through which the dog communicated its mission. The dog sat at his feet, staring intently at Jonathan. He barked softly, as if to say, "Everything is in place now. You understand, don't you?" Jonathan felt the immense responsibility that rested upon him. Protecting this knowledge and understanding its true purpose wasn't a choice, it was a duty. But he also knew that the masked man and other forces would seek to seize this artifact. The danger was far from over. Holding the medallion in his hand, Jonathan murmured, "We must continue, and prepare our defense. The truth we protect is more precious than anything." The dog barked again, and together they left the cave, aware that the next stage of their adventure would be the most dangerous, but also the one where the Guardian's mission would be revealed in all its depth. Jonathan and the black dog walked through the forest, the ancient medallion clutched to his chest. Each step seemed to echo from the past, and the light filtering through the trees created mysterious patterns on the ground. They knew the final confrontation was approaching. The masked man and other dark forces were still trying to seize the secret they were protecting. They arrived at a circular clearing, where the wind seemed to whisper ancient words. In the center was a circle of ancient stones, like a forgotten altar. Jonathan placed the medallion in the center, and immediately, the symbols carved on the stones glowed with a golden light. The dog stood beside him, its eyes reflecting this mystical radiance. A voice resonated in the air, clear and deep, seeming to come from the stones themselves. "Jonathan Miller, you have followed the path of the Guardian. You have shown courage, faith, and discernment. Now, the truth is revealed to you." The medallion projected images into the air, generations of dogs and men bound by the mission to protect ancient knowledge, secret places revealed, forces that sought to destroy them. Jonathan finally understood, the black dog was not only a guide, he was a guardian of the balance between the visible and invisible worlds, and he himself was chosen to continue this sacred mission. The dog barked one last time, and light enveloped Jonathan, filling his heart with a profound certainty. He understood that his life would now be dedicated to protecting ancient knowledge, guiding those who were lost, and defending the truth against those who sought to corrupt it. As the wind died down and the light faded, the masked man reappeared at the edge of the clearing, but this time he no longer seemed threatening. He bowed his head respectfully and murmured, "You have won, but remember, the mission never ends." Then he vanished into the shadows, leaving Jonathan alone with the dog. Jonathan stroked the dog, his eyes shining with gratitude and determination. We have begun a journey together, and we will continue, to protect what must be protected. The dog barked softly, then moved forward, guiding Jonathan out of the clearing and into a future filled with mysteries, revelations, and the promise to protect ancient knowledge for generations to come. Thus ended their immediate adventure, but the journey of the guardian and his black dog was only just beginning, an eternal link between man, animal, and the truth hidden behind the shadows of the world.